I'm going to show you how to do a long tail neoprene bow. Let me just show you the front, the back, the clip. The clip is glued down. I do tie my centers into a knot, but you can also glue yours if you prefer a different type of backing. Some people like it to sit more flat, so that's always an option. But I'm going to show you how I do them, how I get them not to have a lot of the white showing from the back side. So let's go ahead and get started. What you'll need is a good pair of scissors. Sharp scissors are super important to get nice clean lines when cutting your neoprene. Also a hot glue gun with a multi-hot glue stick. And then I also have a skinny alligator clip, which I slide through my back, the back of my center. And then I have some rubber bands. You can use any type of rubber bands. There's not any like specific magical brand that works best, but these are just what I have on hand, so I'm gonna be using these today. Okay, when you receive your order with your long tail neoprene bows, they're gonna come on a strip, a 7-inch by 60-inch strip of bows pre-printed onto the fabric already for you. These are just a mix of all kinds of different random ones I have. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this out and then I'll show you how to make them. All right, so I cut down a little bit of my fabric so it's easier to work with. And when cutting neoprene, normally we have outlines as guides. If it's a thicker outline, then it's meant to stay. But if it's thinner like this, you can cut right inside the line. And it's just for you to be able to see where the pattern starts and ends. Sometimes with these really light backgrounds, it's hard to distinguish. And so people have trouble figuring out where the pattern starts. So for mine, I'm just gonna cut on the inside. You just kind of move your hand as you go. And if you have nice sharp scissors, it'll just make it easier. You can also use a rotary cutter and just line it up that way. So I'm gonna finish cutting this out and then I will show you what to do next. All right, my strip is all cut out and ready to go. I want the pointed ends facing down toward me. So just keep that in mind. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna lay it out like this. Let me see how I can show this whole thing in there. So once it's laid out and the points are facing down towards you, you want to flip it upwards so that both your points are at an angle. You see that? This is similar to how we do our sailor bows, stuff like that. Okay, once you figure out where you want your bow to sit, you're just going to grab it and make sure you're pinching, okay? Let me see, make sure this is even. You can adjust it a little bit. And then what you're gonna do is you're just gonna line it up with that back piece of fabric. You're going to pinch, this is where it might be a little tricky. You're gonna pinch once and pinch twice, and then you're going to grab your rubber band or whatever you're using to secure the center, and you're going to wrap it, okay? Then once it's wrapped, you wanna make sure everything is even. So let's see. I'm gonna pull this side down slightly. And the good thing about the rubber bands is that they're super forgiving and they allow you to move stuff around. And then you can pull your back side just down gently so it doesn't show. And this is how I get mine. See how they're nice and lined up? This is how I get my whites not to show, is what I do is I get a dab of hot glue and I just line it up with that back part and I put a little drop of glue right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Okay, so you can see where I have the back side. I'm gonna put a little like smear of glue back there and then grab this front side and I'm just gonna line them up nicely. And then it just keeps everything nice and lined up. Kind of just hold it. The good thing about neoprene is that it's a little bit cushiony, so you're not gonna see that glue seeping through, which is really nice. And if you wanted to do a little bit more, you can. And I'm gonna do it on this side as well. That way we don't have that white peeping through and it just gives you a nicer, clean finish. All right. this way just a smidge, as it seems like it's a little bit. There we go. Okay. Now for the bottom parts, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm just gonna put a little dot of glue right under the top loop. Just a little bit of glue there. And then I'm going to pull in my tail and just position it so it's hanging down. And I'm just gonna hold that glue till it dries. And it just kind of gives you a nice structure, and the bow hangs nicely and it's not like sticking out. Same thing with this side. I'm gonna put it on my loop and then right where I want it to sit. And once that glue dries, you can kind of just see how that bow sits nicely. So next you're gonna want to take your center and you're going to want to roll it. You can put a little dab of glue if that helps, but you just fold it where the edges are not showing. So glue might help. I'm normally trying to get these done quick for pictures, so I don't normally glue them, but you just pull it around the back and then you're just gonna tie. Just get a nice little knot. Before you tie your knot too tight, what you want to do next is grab a clip. And so the one I'm going to be using is our 2-inch long alligator clips. These are the skinnier type. The 2.375 inch would work as well. These are just easier to slide in. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it up and I'm just going to slide through the top layer of my bow. So I don't want it going through the whole knot, if that makes sense. That way it doesn't open, it'll close nicely. Then I'm just gonna tighten the bow a little bit more so it gives me a nice tight finish in the front. And then you can trim off your excess fabric and then you can just glue those little flaps down. So trim, and like I said, if you prefer a cleaner look, you could always glue these down like a normal faux leather type bow, where you would just overlap them and glue them. You can do that as well. So I'm gonna put a little bit of glue under the flaps. And we're just gonna get it underneath our clip. And same thing with this side. And then after that's glued down, I'm just gonna secure my clip on there, and I'm going to put a little bit of glue here and a little bit of glue here, and then just kind of hold this all so it kind of gives the bow like a little bit of a curvature to it, so it kind of like sits on the head nicely and it's not sticking out. So put a little bit of, sorry, I'm getting the screen, put a little bit of glue here. And then you're just gonna have it sit on this side, and you're gonna just repeat the same thing. And you could even trim this up more. I'm trying to do this through a camera, so not the neatest, but just to give you an idea. Which I'm sure you guys can get them to look much neater than mine. So both sides are glued down nicely. My clip closes all the way, opens nicely. I might just trim this little piece off. There we go. And you got a cute little bow. I think it's so cute. So there's this one, same concept. I did the same exact thing, but like I said, if you don't like the knot in the back, you could just overlap them and glue them, and you'll have a much cleaner look. Just make sure that you try to slide your clip in and then glue it through the clip, if that makes sense. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out, but that is our tutorial for the new long tail bows.